Hey folks, thanks for stopping in for another episode of I Want That Reviews. My name's Chris, and today we're going to be taking a look at the 40 quart Cold E cooler from Cold E Coolers. Now this is a company based out of Hood River, Oregon. Essentially what this is, it's a roto-molded shell that's got injected polyurethane insulation core. Now, these are advertised as having a durable airtight gasket. They are meant to be rugged. They're meant to be able to take just about anything you can dish out on them. They've tweaked the polyurethane formula for both the shell and the insulation, so they're able to get a little more performance out of them, get your ice to last a little longer. Now, this particular model, this is the 40 quart, and it's got a pretty steep price tag on it of $259. If you've spent any time looking at the higher end coolers, you know it's a pretty acceptable price. It's actually on the low end compared to some of the others that are out there. The latches and feet are made of a UV resistant silicone rubber, so they will both stretch and grip, so you can get a good grip on those if your hands are wet, if you've been fishing or something along those lines. It also will keep it from sliding around in the back of your truck or wherever you've got it while you're driving or whatnot. All the screws and pins and hardware on it are stainless steel, so you'll get a long life out of those. The measurements, the external length is 23.75 inches, the external width is 13 inches, and the external height is 14.75 inches. Interior is 20 by 10 by 11.5, and overall it weighs in at 17.5 pounds. It does have a petcock on the side of it that unscrews. You don't have to remove that all the way. You can unscrew it about halfway and it's drilled. Any water that you've got in there will drain out. For my initial impressions when I received it, the first thing I thought was, holy crap, this thing is bomb-proof. It's made of a really solid polymer, and it really seems like I could just kick it out of the back of my truck while I'm driving on the freeway and it would tumble and it'd be just fine. I really like the latch system. It's very similar to the latches that you'll see on the side of like a Jeep hood or like a semi hood. They're just stretchy rubber latches that pull down and fasten on like that. Like I mentioned earlier, it's definitely not for the faint of heart. It does have a pretty steep price tag, and it only goes up. They've got several other sizes that'll hold. I think they go all the way up to 115 quarts. So you've got several different options that you can look at. As far as use, I've taken it shooting several times through to the back of my buddy's truck. We've gone out and gone all over dirt roads and stuff, and it has stayed exactly where it's been put. But several times we've taken it out shooting, hot weather. We've thrown a 6-pack in there, thrown some other stuff in, and there's very little melt for the amount of time that we had out there. So I was very impressed with it that way. But the most impressive thing that I've noticed about it was I went to a sporting event with my family, and we took the cooler with us, had it packed full, lots of drinks, snacks, food for the day, and parked out in the parking lot. And this was a 90+ degree day. It was hot outside, and it was inside a black pickup on an asphalt parking lot. I guarantee the temperature inside that truck was well above 110 degrees. It held ice all day long. I saw very little melt, and as a matter of fact, that truck sat there for at least 8 hours in that parking lot that day. And then, I came home, we took out whatever the rest of what we had in it was, and then I actually just left it in the truck. So it stayed in that truck all day long. The next morning when I went out, there was still ice in the cooler. I had to dump ice in my front yard, and I was really impressed with how well that worked. As far as likes go, I really like the durability of it. This thing, like I said, this thing can take a beating. I'm a big guy. I weigh 300 pounds, and I can sit on this thing. Now, most coolers, if you look, most coolers come with a disclaimer that say, do not sit. Don't sit on this. And in my case, that's true. I've dented the tops of a couple coolers over time, and I can sit on this thing all day long, and it's not an issue. Construction, just the way that this thing is manufactured, it's rotocast, and then it's filled with that polyurethane insulation. It's got those rope carries on the side with a rigid point for your hand so it doesn't cut into your hand. I also like the function. I really like how well it works. It holds the ice like it should. I'm quite confident that I can take this for a week-long camping trip and only have to top off the ice maybe once in that trip. I like those. I like the silicone parts on it. I like the fact that it's got that stretchy latch system that works, and I really like the feet. I like the fact that I can throw it in the back of the truck and not have to worry about it sliding all over the place when I'm driving. And as I know it's a smaller, simpler thing, but I do like the fact that the petcock on it can actually be unscrewed. You can take it all the way off if you want, but all you have to do is unscrew it a couple turns and it'll drain through that side drilled hole. I thought that was kind of a nice touch as well. As far as dislikes go, I really don't care for the seal that was used around the lid. I'd really like to see them use a rubber seal. Having that foam, that's something that over time is going to break down and is going to have to be replaced. I'd really like to see them replace that with a rubber seal or something along those lines that'll give it more longevity. I also didn't like the fact that there's no replacement hardware available. Most of the hardware, the main hinge pin that goes down the back, that's just a very long rivet. It's a permanently attached part. I imagine you could Dremel it off if you needed to repair it, but I'd really like to see that be, a long bolt that can have a nut on the end of it or something like that that's user replaceable, because if you're going to spend this much money on a cooler, you want to make sure that it's something that's going to be able to be fixed or repaired if the need arises. So I'd really like to see replacement parts and hardware available on their website. It is heavy. This thing weighs 17 pounds unloaded. Once you load that thing up with ice, drinks, meat, provisions, whatever it is you're going to have in there, that thing's going to have some substantial weight. Now, that's par for the course. Anytime you're looking at one of these coolers like this, you're going to expect it to weigh a little more because it's just a lot more solid product. So that one's kind of a neutral dislike, and then the other neutral dislike I had for it was the price. This is an expensive cooler. It's definitely not for everyone, but I definitely think that you get what you pay for. So overall, I'm going to go ahead and give this 4.5 out of 5 stars. I'm very pleased with it. It's going to stay in my lineup for my camping coolers, and I am pleased with it. So I'll go ahead and include a link to their website as well as their Facebook page in the description below. As always, thanks so much for watching. If it weren't for you guys, I wouldn't be here. So please do like, subscribe, and share. And just keep checking back on a weekly basis for more reviews of awesome products just like this one that'll make you say, I want that.